You're the reason why I am my way. You're the reason why I rip my shirts, why I eat at the buffet. Butter, you got your very own kind of nice. We all live inside a butter world. Oh, butter, butter. Gonna eat it by the stick tonight. Gonna eat out this world. Oh, butter. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all night. Butter dreaming. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all.
All right, man. What's going on? We're back.
We are back. Welcome, everyone.
Episode number 33.
33.
Highest degree.
The powerful number of 33.
That's right. If you know, you know. But it's Monday and it's night and we are live and we're excited to be here again. My name is Anderson
And I'm Jay.
and our mission here is to dismantle the perverse food agenda and have more people eating more meat, more eggs, so that we can get stronger physically. And, once your body is not fighting itself because of the poor nutrition you're putting in it, once it's not fighting its own brain, then, we can get stronger mentally and spiritually and create a better tomorrow. That's really what it's all about. We have a great show planned for you tonight. Before we get started, make sure you go like and subscribe over here on YouTube. Find us on all social media platforms as Butterfield, and then go like and comment and share all the content over there as well. That way we can get more eyes on this information, really, because again, we got to dismantle the perverse food agenda, and it's all thanks to you here for watching and partaking and engaging, right? So we have a free Discord group. Go join. Link in the bio on Instagram. So it's going to be in the description too. It's free. Weekly Zoom meetings on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we also hold monthly challenges because, again, we got to get stronger physically, guys. We're going to be covering that shortly. Go check out the website, buy our merch. You can now get the Have a Butter Day t-shirts. These are 100% organic cotton. No junk. It's very soft as butter. And you can get our hats. Also on a t-shirt, Make Butter Great Again. And then the Build Back Butter t-shirts, go get those, 100% organic cotton. Okay, we ship worldwide. It's a great way to start a conversation with a stranger. Ask them what oils are they using to cook, and they're gonna be like, vegetable oils, olive oil. Then you tell them, did you know animal fats have actually been shown to be healthier? That's what it's all about, guys. So go check that out. And if you'd like to work with us, you can DM us the word fueled, send us an email, or check out our website too to learn more information. So with all that being covered, let's get started with today's show. We have a great show planned as always.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Let's get to it.
All right. Monday Night Live. Here, flipping. All right. So getting started, we are doing the push-up challenge this month in August. Do as many push-ups as you can. Log them in our Discord group. See who comes out on top. And we have a reward for the first place.
That's right. The winner will be getting free merch. They'll be getting a hat.
Let's go. We also hold weekly check-in meetings on Zoom on Wednesdays. All right. So this is a leaderboard as of today, August 7th. Curtis with 705 push-ups, leading the charge, and then myself with 620 push-ups. Anderson 520, Shannon 500.
Woo! Hey, shout out Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon.
Shannon is absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, Shannon's always participating. She's down.
Yeah, she's down.
Down to do whatever challenge we got.
Yeah, down with the mission, man. We all gotta get stronger together.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already, go join the Discord.
Then we have a couple, King Zahi, a couple of users here that didn't display well properly, but people need to get into the hundreds.
Yeah.
We're 7 days in. Everyone should be above 100 push-ups.
Yeah, yeah. And again, do the push-ups you can do. If you gotta do them with the knees or on top of a countertop, the whole point is to get stronger, right? Do not self-select out of the challenge because of your
Correct.
current ability. By the end of August, you might surprise yourself, especially if you eat lots of meat and eggs together with the process.
Correct. So,
So
last week we talked about is butter back, referencing a paper from the good old Dr. Vegan Gregor.
yeah,
But yeah, it was a great episode. We actually used studies to debunk the saturated fat demonization.
correct. So if that sounds interesting to you, go watch it, and then when it's too many facts to handle, go share that with a friend too. Tell them to start using butter and tallow to cook and eating more meat.
Let's go.
So, on to tonight's topic, veganism. I thought it would be appropriate to start with, well, what exactly is veganism? Because vegans will play around with definitions and the meanings of words. Tell you it's not a diet, it's a belief system. Sometimes that's something that I've heard often. So I
Yeah.
thought it'd be appropriate to just share the Google search. Veganism. What do we got here?
The practice of eating only food not derived from animals and typically avoiding the use of other animal products. He believes the rise of veganism is raising awareness about animal cruelty.
Okay, the practice, right? Practice, not necessarily a diet. I also think it's interesting to point out the uptick in the use over time for the word veganism.
Yeah, it
Um,
pretty much didn't exist before
for the
2000.
yeah, pretty much before 2000. That tells you it's a complete modern fabrication
Correct.
built on nothing but lies. But tonight we'll cover the science and why we're going vegan. It's funny. I noticed my phone. I have an iPhone. Will autocorrect the word with a capital V.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I
That's
don't know.
that is certainly not good and not true.
Yeah. So why this topic? Again, everyone's free to choose whatever life they want. That's not what this is about. I'm not here to pass judgment. But it's important to remember that ideology claims victims. Ideology can kill, and it can hurt those that are the most vulnerable in society: children, the elderly, and of course, things like this shouldn't really be happening. Self-induced starvation. Um, you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to this woman and her family and friends. That's all I wanted to say. Really, I don't really talk too much about this.
Yeah.
May her soul rest in peace. We'll move on straight to the science and the risks associated with it. The science, right? I didn't mean to say the risks. The good science about vegetarian, meatless diets, vegan or not. So here's one study.
How prevalent is vitamin B12 deficiency among vegetarians, right? This is like if your diet is lacking B12, then it's not a good diet, nor a good practice, nor a good belief, nor anything. I mean, if you want to live in fantasy, then go ahead, but that's not reality.
Yep. And here we have the main finding from the study, right? The main finding over there highlighted is main finding of this review is that vegetarians develop B12 depletion or deficiency, two different things, regardless of demographic characteristics, place of residency, age, or type of vegetarian diet. I want you to really pay attention to that when you say regardless of demographic characteristics. That means vegetarian in the first world or a vegetarian in the third world in developing nations.
Hmm.
They all risk B12 depletion or deficiency,
Yeah.
regardless of the type of vegetarian diet. Why? Why do you suppose that is? Because B12 is exclusively found in animal foods, and red meat is one of the richest sources of B12, regardless of what the plant-based folk people will tell you. I've seen people even advocate um, coprophagy. That was the right word, right? If
Yeah.
you don't know what that is, coprophagy, Google that. But I've seen people advocate for this as a means to get their B12. Just frankly disgusting and disappointing that a human being would try to make the case for coprophagy.
It's yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go ahead and Google it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, yeah, the modern day vegans, they say, oh yeah, I can supplement my B12. However, long term, that doesn't seem like it's enough.
Uh,
It just is not. And
tr-
there's
yeah.
yeah,
Trust
it's
the
not.
whole food matrix.
Yeah,
Trust the whole food matrix.
bone health. Low bone mass in subjects on a long term raw vegetarian diet.
Yep. So the study was concerned with trying to find out more about this connection. Right. Little is known regarding the health effects of a raw food vegetarian diet. I mean, I think it's always so funny that we need like scientists to go out there and ask these questions to find out what are very obvious conclusions to just anyone who is like somewhat grounded in reality. Nevertheless, it's important that this evidence is out there, right?
Correct.
It's important that this evidence is out there. So, this is a small study, cross-sectional study, 18 volunteers. Okay, take that with the grain of salt, right? Again, we have several other studies to cover. Some of them are more complex. Some of them are better sources of evidence or not. But I think it's interesting to see how they measured what they were tracking here. So if you look at the methods, they say we measured body composition, bone mineral content, and density, bone turnover markers like C-telopeptide of type 1 collagen and bone-specific alkaline phosphatase. C-reactive protein, very good marker for inflammation, just systemic inflammation. 25 hydroxyvitamin D, right? Vitamin D levels, insulin-like growth factor 1, and leptin in serum. Okay, so what they found is that, let me see what does it say, and the results, they look at mean bone mineral content and density of the lumbar spine and hip were lower in the raw food group than in the control group. And the control group was, I believe, a typical American diet. Okay.
So not a very good comparison.
Yeah. So the bar is already very low, people.
The worst diet on earth.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then these guys, they had lower bone mineral content and density of the lumbar spine and hip. Okay. I mean, it's pretty important bones.
Sounds pretty frail.
Yeah. And then, again, that was all just for some context. The conclusion here, uh, raw food vegetarian diet is associated with low bone mass at clinically important skeletal regions, but is without evidence of increased bone turnover or impaired vitamin D status, right? So they measured vitamin D status, came normal in the blood work, and they measured bone turnover markers. So there really wasn't any evidence that the turnover had increased. However, there was evidence that the bone density and mineral content decreased, right? We have Jen Rich in the house.
Shout out to Jen. She says, eat beef, repeat.
Amen.
Absolutely. Teeth get a battering with carbs and fiber. Weaning cows chew cud. Our teeth aren't strong against sugar. Yeah, I mean, basically, all cavities are basically because of sugar, right? You can check out Dr. Kevin Stock. He's a dentist. He talks about it all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. They won't happen. Cavities won't take place in the absence of carbohydrates, dietary carbohydrates. So how can carbohydrates be good for you, but then be bad for your teeth?
Yeah, we gotta live in a world on this earth where everything is just good.
Exactly. And yeah, that's an excellent segue to the next study we have here.
Excellent segue. It's like you knew, Jen.
Yeah, she's too based. She already knows too much. We've done. I mean, I don't know if she found out from us, but yeah, there's a good talking points all around. So, yeah, Jay, you wanna read this one?
Dental erosions in subjects living on raw food diet. All right. So the aim of the study was to investigate the frequency and severity of dental erosions and its association with nutritional and oral hygiene factors in subjects living on a raw food diet. 130 subjects. Let's just skip all the way to the highlighted area. Within the raw food group, no significant correlation was found between nutrition and or oral health data. and the prevalence of erosions. Nevertheless, the results show that the raw food diet bears an increased risk of dental erosion compared to conventional nutrition. Well, that is very interesting.
Yeah. So when they say they're looking at nutrition or oral health data, is that they're trying to correlate other variables to it, but they're saying like they couldn't find any correlation. But nevertheless, there's definitely an increased risk of dental erosion. Does that make sense? Kind of like tricky the way they word it there,
Yeah.
because I think they were also like evaluating like the percentage of like citrusy fruits versus like non-citrusy. But yeah, in one of those sentences, it says compared to the control groups, subjects living on raw food diet has significantly more dental erosions, right? Only 2.3% of the raw food group had no erosive effects, whereas 37.2% had at least one tooth with moderate erosion, and 60.5% had at least one tooth with a severe erosion. These are the people on the raw food diet, right? Very clear connection there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes perfect sense. Why, right? It's poor bone health, right? I mean, we have to tell you why that's important, bone health. And then, of course, the prevalence of carbohydrate-rich foods, just messing everything up. Not good.
Yeah.
Not the way humans are meant to live.
Yeah.
We need our teeth.
We definitely need our teeth.
What are you gonna do if you don't have any teeth?
How are you gonna eat?
Yeah, how are you gonna eat, bro?
Even ground beef, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting paper. They try to throw you off by saying within the raw food group. So just comparing raw food people with the raw food people. But then raw food versus conventional nutrition, raw food people are kind of losing their teeth.
Yep. Fertility. Consequences of a long-term raw food diet on body weight and menstruation. Results of a questionnaire survey. Okay, so questionnaire survey, make of it what you will. Yeah, what do we have here? Objective, examine the relationship between the strictness of long-term raw food diets and body weight loss, underweight, and amenorrhea. Amenorrhea being, I believe, the loss of your menstruation, the period being gone, which happens in unideal situations in female identifying humans.
Oh man.
Right? Come on. We don't buy into the nonsense here, guys. Come on. Two genders.
Men and men and women and women.
Yeah, come at me. You think we'll get banned off YouTube for saying that?
Controversial take.
Come at me. All right. Cross-sectional study, 216 men, 297 women. Consuming long-term raw food diets, 3.7 years, right? And they used a model to evaluate the relationship between body weight and amount of raw food consumed. And then they looked at these other things. Skip to the conclusion. Consumption of raw food diet is associated with a high loss of body weight. Since many raw food dieters exhibited underweight and amenorrhea, a very strict raw food diet cannot be recommended on a long-term basis.
Now that sounds like a good idea. Let's just lose a lot of weight, but except you're losing your muscle too, which is you're not gonna look good skinny.
Exactly. So, and then why might that loss of body weight be taking place? I mean, yeah, fibers, fruits, and vegetables are going to fill you up. Maybe it's going to be harder for you to consume more calorie dense foods. Of course, you're cutting out the junk, which is a net benefit, and that's going to reflect itself in the weight loss. But you're also losing bone density. Bone health is getting worse. You're going to be losing muscle. You're going to be tanking your health, depriving yourself of nutrients, right? Not a good situation. And of course, all of this will have an impact on your mental health, which is the next point we're going to cover now.
Mental health.
Yeah.
Vegetarian and veganism compared with mental health and cognitive outcomes, a systematic review and meta-analysis by Oxford Academic.
Yeah, so a bit of context here. Oh, yeah, if you want to take this one.
Yeah, context, vegetarian and vegan diets are increasing in popularity, 100%. Although they provide beneficial health benefits, which people are still trying to find, they may also lead to nutritional deficiencies. Amazing. So you're getting health benefits and nutritional deficiencies all two in one package. Cognitive impairment and mental health disorders have a high economic burden. But the system is prepared to give you drugs.
Yeah, well, like that just makes perfect sense. Guys, this is where it all aligns, right? Cognitive impairment and mental health disorders have a high economic burden. What does that mean? It means they can profit from your health.
Yeah. So if you don't have diabetes or obesity, now you have mental health disorders and cognitive impairment. Either way, you're on insulin or SSRIs. Haha. Anyway, objective. A meta-analysis was conducted to examine the relationship between vegan or vegetarian diets and cognitive and mental health. Conclusion: vegan or vegetarian diets were related to higher risk of depression and lower anxiety scores. But no difference for other outcomes were found. Subgroup analysis of anxiety showed a higher risk of anxiety, mainly in participants in under 26 years of age, and in studies with higher quality. More studies with better overall quality are needed to make clear positive or negative associations.
Like,
Uh,
yep. Again, it's good that this evidence is out there. Of course, the authors are going to say like, oh, we should hold back before you make any definitive statements or find any definitive associations. But really, if you understand nutrition from like a principles first approach, this this is just common sense. This is just a logical conclusion that you arrive to once you go on a meatless diet, right?
yeah, yeah, and it's pretty interesting, right? It's like, hey, you may have higher risk for depression, but we're not entirely sure. So if you're doing it, keep doing it. Just be careful. Okay, now I am aware, and now I am careful. I'll just keep doing it though. Depression. Association between vegetarian and vegan diets and depression. A systematic review.
Yep. So the one before was a systematic review too, and then this one's also a systematic review. Right? So now we're looking at bigger studies, looking at studies that look at studies, right? So for example, this one looked at a total of 23 studies, 18 cross-sectional, 3 prospective cohort, 2 randomized controlled trials. So there you go. 11 of the outcomes indicated that vegetarian and vegan diets were associated with higher rates of depression, while 7 of the outcomes revealed beneficial effects of the diets on depression, and then 7 outcomes found no association between vegetarian and vegan diets and depression, although 2 of those studies found a high risk of depression in some groups. Okay, so mixed data here and there. Again, this is not a there's some associations there, but it seems like the conclusion is very mild here, right? Nevertheless, it's still there. And again, if you come at this from a principles first approach, it's really no surprise. I mean, you're depriving your brain of nutrients. You're starving your brain, by all means. Starving your brain. And if you're losing weight, you're starving your body too. I mean, even people who are overweight starve their bodies of nutrients if they're just eating junk.
Yeah, yeah. But you can start seeing the theme. It's like these papers, they don't really take a really strong stance against it. They kind of just lay it out there and then kind of throw in a few more sentences, trying to create a more mixed view.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because all these papers, like remember, guys, all these papers, they're researchers and academics, like they want to prove they're positive. They want to prove that, hey, vegetarian and vegan can work. It can save the world, right? It is healthier because it lowers LDL cholesterol, which is always a poor marker for anything, really. So there you have it. That's why these takes are so milk toast, right?
Yes. Systematic review on mental health.
Another one.
Yes. Meat and mental health. A systematic review of meat abstention and depression, anxiety, and related phenomena.
So a study looking at studies. Here we
Yes.
go.
The conclusion: studies examining the relation between consumption or avoidance of meat and psychological health vary substantially in methodologic rigor, validity of interpretation, and confidence in results. The majority of studies, especially the higher quality studies, showed that those who avoided meat consumption had significantly higher rates or risk of depression, anxiety, and/or self-harm behaviors. There was mixed evidence for temporal relations, but study designs and lack of rigor precluded inferences of causal relations. Our study does not support meat avoidance as a strategy to benefit psychological health. That last sentence. Um, but yeah, to basically eat meat um,
For mental health.
for mental health, but
But
they have to go with the negatives.
yeah, again, you see how they do this language wordplay.
Yeah, yeah. Does not support
Meat
meat
avoidance.
avoidance. So that there
They,
you have a double
they,
negative.
they probably started the study out with like, hey, vegetarianism and mental health. And then once, they were like, oh, it's not looking good for vegetarians and vegans. We'll just say meat avoidance, right? We
Yeah,
don't want to throw shade on the vegans.
yeah.
But there you have it.
There you have it. And another thing to highlight here, it is highlighted on the screen, is that once you start using higher quality studies, you can actually start to see this higher rates and risk.
Exactly. Very good point.
And then what do you do if you're trying to be a proponent of the vegan diet? You just throw in the lower quality studies that are inconclusive, unclear, and show no correlation, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, you're saving animals. So why wouldn't you flip it and flip the messaging just because you're doing a greater good? And that is animals, chickens.
Yeah. Dude, these people want to save chickens over humans.
Exactly. So how trustworthy is a human that wants to save a chicken over you?
I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. This one's a good paper.
Vegan meat.
Yeah. Debunking the vegan myth, the case for plant forward, omnivorous whole foods diet. So, again, milder takes. Again, we got to consider, right, the context of these. As an academic, you cannot come out and be like, hey, maybe we should all just do carnivore diets. You're going to get ostracized by society,
Yeah.
right? But here we go. And kind of a different paper, but still highlighting a very important point. And I'll just read the whole abstract because I like everything that it says. Vegan diets are widely promoted as protective against cardiovascular disease. However, removing all animal foods from a human's diet usually causes unfavorable health consequences. Our hominin ancestor began consuming meat, fish, seafood, and eggs over 2 million years ago. If you subscribe to evolution, that's just a theory. We don't know if that's true 2 million years ago. Anyhow.
Correct.
Consequently, humans are genetically adapted to procure nutrients from both plant and animal sources. This is true. In contrast, veganism is without evolutionary precedent in Homo sapiens species. If you subscribe to that point of view. But that is also true. Strict adherence to a vegan diet causes predictable deficiencies in nutrients, including vitamins B12, B2, vitamin D, niacin, which is B3, iron, iodine, zinc, high quality proteins, omega-3, and calcium. Prolonged strict veganism increases risk for bone fractures, sarcopenia, anemia, and depression. So bone fractures, we talked about that. Sarcopenia, really, we could have produced studies that show every single one of these points, but then we would have had like 30 studies to show you, right? So some balance there. But sarcopenia, for those who are not familiar, is I believe is the loss of muscle mass. So you really look at those vegans who have like really thin necks, right? Like that's not a good indicator of health. Anemia, low iron, red meat, of course, rich is the source of iron.
Yeah.
Moving on. A more logical diet is a plant-forward omnivorous eating pattern. Logical. Okay. Plant-forward omnivorous eating pattern that emphasizes generous consumption of natural, unprocessed foods, predominantly from plants. To balance this diet, modest amounts of wholesome animal foods, such as wild-caught fish, seafood, pasture-raised meat and eggs, and fermented, unsweetened dairy should be consumed regularly in modest amounts. Which, again,
It's, I mean, yeah, yeah, eat meat, eat eggs, eat dairy, fish and seafood. There, I mean, I agree, but they're
yeah,
still trying. They're still trying to kind of throw in. You
yeah.
should still have some plants, though, right?
They're
Because
they're pulling back their punches, right?
yeah,
Yeah, which it's fine. It's fine. That's why we're here.
it's fine. Yeah,
That's why we're here. We recommend a meat-forward, optionally omnivorous eating pattern.
correct.
Fully support a 100% meat-forward carnivorous way of eating. But if up to you, right? Up to you. If you're eating meat, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
But there you go. The one I want to highlight here is the nutrient deficiencies.
yeah. The FAO gets it right.
Yep. So just a little bit from the FAO website. I love their logo. Fiat panis, fiat panis. Let there be bread, or something like that. They want to feed the whole world bread. Is that really what we need? But just reading from this article that they had on their website, meat, eggs, and milk, essential source of nutrients, especially for most vulnerable groups, new FAO report says. It's the most comprehensive analysis yet of the benefits and risks of consuming animal source foods, and is based on data and evidence from more than 500 scientific papers and some 250 policy documents, right? So pretty robust, right? Pretty robust. Jay, do you want to read the next parts?
Yeah, meat, eggs, and milk provide a range of important macronutrients such as protein, fats, and carbohydrates, and micronutrients that are difficult to obtain from plant based foods. Very key in the required quality and quantity.
Quality, guys.
Quality, yeah. High quality protein, a number of essential fatty acids, iron, calcium, zinc, selenium, vitamin B12, choline, and bioactive compounds like carnitine, creatine, taurine are provided by the foods from terrestrial animals and have important health and developmental functions. It's like we're meant to eat meat. Weird. Iron and vitamin A are among the most common micronutrient deficiencies around the world, particularly in children and pregnant women. Or pregnant people. No, pregnant women.
Get out of here with that woke.
Globally, more than 1 in 2 preschool aged children, 372 million, and 1.2 billion women of childbearing age suffer from the lack of at least one of the three macronutrients: iron, vitamin A, or zinc. 3/4 of these children live in South and East Asia, the Pacific, and Sub Saharan Africa. And red meat has plenty of these three.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people deficient in these in the U.S. as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of odd. Well, yeah, some people are iron deficient, and that kind of just can be solved with steak.
just throw a steak. Steak will fix like most problems, guys.
Yeah.
Engine not working, throw a steak at it.
Yeah.
It's rich in zinc and iron.
Yes.
But there you go. There's real evidence out there and real authorities behind this statement, right? So even though, like, when you read the headlines and you'll see like these people pushing the bugs, imagine going to a PhD school, studying nutrition for like 8 years, and then you come out and you're putting out papers that humans should be eating bugs. What a waste of time. What a waste of your intelligence. What an insult to human intelligence overall. Um, Again, this is all common sense. It's nice that the evidence is out there, but if your approach to nutrition is from a principles like foundational first approach, all of this is just so obvious. Like, as obvious as, like, the sun always comes up again after it's night. It's guaranteed. It's like, I don't, yeah, you know what I mean.
It's certain.
It's certain. Yeah, it's 100% accurate
Yeah.
and observable firsthand by you, by me, by any one of us, right?
Yeah. And I want everyone to just remember this sentence. When people ask you, why do you eat meat? Well, because it is high quality protein, essential fatty acids, iron, calcium, zinc, selenium, vitamin B12, choline, and carnitine, creatine, taurine from these. And this is just naming a few because there's still quite a bit. But you get the gist, right? You shouldn't have to drop down a list to tell people, oh, where do you get your vitamins? Well, turns out meat has vitamins. Um,
Yeah, it's not just protein and fat. And you need
yes.
the fat too. Protein is good, but you need the fat.
You need the fat, yeah. Correct. And concluding thoughts. Ideology takes lives. Humans are meant to eat meat. Eat some meat.
That's right. That's right. And we crossed the 35-minute mark. Thank you for coming tonight and for watching. We hope you enjoyed the science of veganism. It's all negative. It's all negative.
Yeah.
So if you found this valuable, if you learned something today, or it just confirmed your bias, please consider, giving it a like, leaving a comment down below, your thoughts on the studies, what you'd like to see covered next, your story with carnivorous diets, whatever, eating meat, let us know in the comments, and then also consider sharing this with someone who maybe tends to lean more towards plant-forward diets, just so that they can become aware that these diets are not bulletproof, and there's actual evidence and support behind recommending that people do not follow a meatless diet, right? Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Get strong. Protect your bones, your muscles, your brain. Give yourself the nutrients you need so you can be stronger. But that's all I have for you guys today.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget to eat meat. Eat a lot of it. Eat plenty of it. And with all that said, wishing everyone a happy, healthy, and nutrient dense era. Catch you all next time.
Good night.
Butter!